Hey guys, on today's episode, we're going to be going over the step-by-step process to clean and repair your radio head unit. That and a whole lot more coming up on this episode of Drive and Protect. Okay, so today we're working on the same car that I worked on a couple of days ago, which is the one that had all the mouse poo in the back. So we've cleaned it out. It looks fantastic, but I wanted to kind of shoot a separate episode here because it's a little bit more technical and it's going to take a little bit more time. Now, with respect to radio head units, there's a big difference here between one that is older, like this is a 2010, and you can see there's scratches from clearly wiping and touching it, but this isn't a touchscreen. It's very important that we sort of draw that line of distinction between a touchscreen versus an older one like this one here. Step one, of course, is to cover the surrounding buttons with masking tape to avoid having to clean out heavy splatter from inside the knobs and crevices. What makes this kind of easy is you're only using a couple of tools: a plastic sheet, maybe some tape, 1-inch machine, pad, and of course a polish. First, cover most of the dashboard in plastic. Then quickly cut a hole in the sheet. Now this doesn't need to be pretty, just as long as it stays within the original taped off area, you'll be fine. Once the hole exists, add a little bit more tape over those edges to hold it into place. For machine polishers, I have two options in this size. First is the Rupes Nano, which is battery powered, and the TA50 polisher from buffdaddy.com, which is air powered. I'm going to use the 1-inch spot buff pads, which are really tiny and they're actually hand punched out by Kevin Brown, just as you would on a normal size or a 5 to 6 inch pad. So what you would do is prime the pad first. In this case, you prime the foam, then you clean it or blow it out like you would on a larger pad. And in this case, you just add one little tiny dot and you're good to go. Next, perform a very quick test spot to make sure that there's no issues. Now, as you can see, it didn't really polish or restore much of it, but at the same time, it didn't cause damage either, so we're in good standing here, so now we can go a little bit more aggressive. As you can see, the before and after on round 1 was promising. Just as a point of reference within the video, I used M210 on a microfiber towel by hand, or really in this case, by finger, if you will, just to see the difference. Now I added a small dot to the microfiber towel, and then I worked in very short strokes with medium pressure, and it actually came out really well. So if you don't have a machine, you can do it by hand, and clearly that works well. Or if you have a machine, you can be a little bit more aggressive at this point, which is what I did. To continue the process, I used the TA50 with a bit more speed and a bit more pressure. Now keep in mind, you're working on a smaller area, which has a smaller pad on it, so the residue overload is still a concern despite it being just a head unit. Okay, so I'm about halfway through this process. You sort of have to think about this in a similar fashion, let's say to headlights, where it's got this plastic feel like a headlight now, or headlight lens. You want to polish that out. You can be aggressive with headlights because you're a little more comfortable with a headlight. You can sand it. Here, for some reason, it's just a little more nerve-wracking, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. I can't believe I'm going to be polishing this. You just have to keep in mind, hey, is it a touchscreen? Then I'm not going to touch it. If it isn't, you can go after it. In this case, I'm using a foam pad. I can get slightly more aggressive. As you can see in the screen itself, there's heavier gouges. I'm a little reluctant to go after all of those because if you mess it up, then you got to get a new radio. So I'm slowly, sort of like I've said in multiple videos, when I'm going after something, a deep scratch, let's say very expensive paint, I think of it like archaeology. I'm just barely scratching the surface just to see how it is, and then I keep going in because I don't want to go in there with a backhoe and then I ended up ruining my dinosaur bone in this example. So I'm going to go very slow. I'm going to keep maybe another 4 or 5 minutes of going back and forth, and if I feel comfortable, I may change up to a stiffer pad like this one here, and then maybe I'll stay with polish, but I might go to compound. So the point I'm trying to make is just go slow, take your time, and just like with a headlight or on paint, you are going to get residue in here. So to get the residue off, you can hit it with compressed air, or in this case, you can just spin it, let it rotate a little bit, and on your microfiber towel, and that should be clean enough. But again, you're working with a smaller surface on a smaller surface. You are you're speeding, your surface area is much smaller, so the residue coming off is filling this up much faster. So you have to clean it off much more frequently. Hopefully that makes sense, a little bit complicated. Let me keep working on this. As I became more confident in the strength of the screen, I switched pads to a 1-inch microfiber cutting pad, again, made by buffdaddy.com. Exactly the same idea as polishing or using a microfiber pad in a larger area. It'll cut a lot faster than a foam pad. And what I'm noticing right now is the part that I did by hand, in my opinion, looks better than the part that I did by machine. So right now I'm putting, I would say, medium pressure down, and I'm going in straight lines. And I wanna see if this cleans up. There's a deeper scratch here, and I kinda wanna have a bit more control with my hand than maybe a machine. But some people, maybe they don't wanna do that, that's cool too. But the bottom line is the part that I did by hand looks a little bit better than the part that I did by machine, so okay, fine, I'll do it by hand, easy enough. What I might need to do is come back in and refine with the machine maybe, but we'll see what happens. Either way, it looks 1,000 times better, but now, see that scratch right there? See it right there? I'm trying to get this guy without doing too much damage, so let me just show you real quick. Yeah, see that scratch right there? That's my nemesis at the moment I'm going to be playing with. So let me just put a little bit more. How do we do here? Oh, it's getting lighter. See, I just I thinned out that one. That means we can keep going a little bit. We can keep going a little bit. But you got to know when to say when on these things, because, you know, I was just happy to make it look a little bit better, and it's certainly a lot better right now, but now with me rubbing as hard as I am right now, medium pressure, I can start to feel a little bit of heat coming through. So that's when I'm backing off. So my gut tells me, all right, Larry, in my experience, it's time to back off. You've reached a pretty good place here. I'm just gonna double check. Again, these little streaks that you're seeing, you see those streaks right there? That is a good example of what's really happening when you're polishing, let's say, the outside of the car. I don't have a choice now, so I have to do this because there's no choice for me not to put tape here. It doesn't make any sense. But on the outside of the car, in certain areas, like around windows or whatever, if you have tape on there, you're touching a little piece of tape, a little piece of glue is getting touched right on the edge here. So like if you come close and you just nip it, that's gonna get thrown into the pad. And then what happens is, a perfect example here is that little glue, the little sticky, goopy thing right here. That's what happens on your paint, and that's what happens when it gets stuck in the pad. Rolls around the pad, and then as you're polishing, people will call and say, hey, I can't get this last 10% polish. And a lot of times it has to do with contamination from the tape touching. So when I'm not gonna turn the polisher on here, but as this thing is turning, see I'm just barely touching the end of that tape right there. I'm scooping and picking up the residue from the tape. It's getting caught in the pad and then reapplying to the paint, and now you're scouring it every time. And they're saying, hey, I can't figure out how to not have this scour. That's typically the problem on the paint. Here, I'm gonna have to live with it, which means I have to blow out the pad a lot more because I can't not have tape all around here. I'll blow the buttons out. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense there. So clean the pad out. When I get close to the edge, I smush it down, see it's now in the fibers itself, because now we're getting close to the edges here. I don't want to get it all gummed up. Now I'm gonna go right along the edge. Next step is now, I'm gonna take this off. I'm very happy with the way it looks. Does it look brand new and perfect? No. Does it look 150,000 times better? There's no doubt about it. And sometimes as a detailer, you gotta know when to say when, this is when. So I'm gonna pull this off. This was just a splatter guard. Now, if you're using this properly, and certainly if you're doing it by hand, maybe this is a bit overkill, but I'd rather be overkill so I don't have to clean up a mess afterwards. So I'll take this like this, pop this off, take these off, make sure you don't pull any buttons with it. So go easy. And see, even with all the tape here, look, see there's a little bit that's left over. Now imagine if I didn't have this at all. You see that junk there? So the last thing you want to do is you're not going to use compressed air there because you're going to blow it into the buttons, so that's not something you want to do. So let's just scoop that up real quick. I think in these, yeah, see I got that out. You can use a little brush to kind of get in there because there's a little bit of leftover residue. But not too much, which is good. Use a little brush, which I'm gonna go get right now. I'm gonna put a little bit of spray wax on the towel, wipe it down, and you're good to go. You can also carefully apply sealant to the screen, but make sure not to hit the surrounding areas. Once everything is polished and cleaned up, it looks significantly better than it did before, and only in about 10 minutes. All right, guys, well, there you have it. We spent maybe 15 minutes on it, and it looks significantly better. Is it perfect? No. Again, you have to sort of use your judgment, and in this case, I wanted to back down and say, I think it looks fantastic. The customer's gonna love it, but I don't wanna put any more, I don't wanna potentially put damage into it, and I have to deal with this whole pulling this out, that kind of thing. So you have to, again, use your judgment. But in this case, a couple of things you need to remember here is, one, do not do this on touch screens. It's absolutely destroy them. You're going to lose that sort of anti-glare sort of ability. And number two, remember to start very slow and then work your way up to becoming more aggressive. Number three, make sure you sort of protect everything here. If you're using it by hand, you really don't need cover everywhere around the car. But I did that anyways just for demonstration purposes, and plus I was using a machine that if I caught it the wrong way, I could have splattered everywhere. So a few things to keep in mind when you're working on your inside radio, but these little touches are what adds up to a beautiful detail. Of course, if you have any questions, you know where to find me, ammonyc.com. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.